Okay, we've
But
heard.
let's not just think that we are a sovereign nation which can control USA and have things to our liking. It only means that we have to be more and more engaged, we have to furnish more and more information, and we have to keep at it.
Okay, I now want to shift our attention to the second part of the center stage debate, and I want to put this question first to Saurabh Shukla. Is America now applying pressure tactics on India on the nuclear liability bill? We heard from Hillary Clinton today that yes, NSG guidelines won't be a problem, but your standards need to be in conformity with world standards. That's a manner of saying that you need to change the nuclear liability bill. Is America now applying pressure on India?
Absolutely, Rahul. In fact, in the closed-door meeting that S.M. Krishna had with Hillary Clinton, sources telling us, he pointed out that don't use this nuclear, India's entry into nuclear regimes as a strategic weapon of sorts, because that's what is happening. This whole new clause of ENR couldn't have come out without tacit US support, even though Hillary Clinton is assuring India that she will do all that she can to support India's entry into nuclear regimes. But clearly, obviously the US is also using this as a bargaining chip, and that is what she said when she said that India needs to tweak its nuclear liability bill inside when she met with the Indian delegation.
Ambassador Rawlinson, this seems to be a new hurdle that's cropped up. And subtle, covert, overt, use whichever phrase you will. The fact is America is now putting pressure on India to pass a bill that's been passed in India.
Let me put it a little bit differently. Number one is that as part of the nuclear deal, India on its own as a sovereign country made a solemn commitment to the United States that it will sign and ratify the convention on relating to liability. Now, that the essence of that convention is that there will substantially be no liability on the part of suppliers. Now, this issue has been raised for the first time, not by the United States, incidentally. I've served a long time in Russia. The Russians were the first to insist that, we cannot give an open-ended kind of a guarantee on this. You'll have to address this. So the question to ask is, now, it is not so it is not particular to the United States itself. The third aspect is, it is not just at the nuclear suppliers group, but at the G8 meeting earlier, you had countries like, of course, the NSG has to act unanimously. That means you had not just the United States. We are talking of the United States, but it is 46 nations. If any of the 46 nations had objected, including France, Russia, or anyone, it would not have been adopted. If they had objected during the G8, that is France, Russia, and other players.
But these guidelines have come later, have they not?
No. But
if these guidelines were to be implemented, does it not mean that the advantages that we thought would accrue from the nuclear bill ultimately don't benefit us?
No, I'm just saying that you're focusing on the United States. I'm not trying to justify any action. I'm just telling you factually what has happened. First, it was G8, where you had the other principal players. So what we should do is, we should, I think, not only take this up with the United States, but also the other suppliers, in fact, some of whom with whom we have started.
Saurabh makes the point that these new NSG guidelines would not have materialized unless they enjoyed tacit support from the United States. And now, is the US using this as a bargaining tactic, pressure tactic on New Delhi?
First, it must have been more than tacit support of the US, must have been overt support. In fact, at the instance of the United States, this ENR ban has been slapped, and its primary target is India. So basically it undercuts the entire deal. The second aspect, which actually is a bit of an irony, is that we're discussing nuclear accident liability when the Japanese taxpayers are saddled with tens of billions of dollars